Hello everyone, welcome back. This is our deep stretch practice. I am gonna add my 2 blocks and my lovely socks. You probably know why. Find a little bit of space to move though, and let's get started. So let's begin today laying down, Supta Baddha Konasana. If you want to lay on your pillow, if you want to make a diamond shape with your legs, placing your arms where you'd like to place your arms. And just making some final adjustments. Maybe finding a place where you can be still for a few moments. Closing your eye. Feel your breath. And slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes if you'd like. Moving the legs, planting your feet, bending your knees. And if you're laying on top of a pillow of some kind, you can sit up, take it out, move it off to the side. Lay flat on your back for a moment. Maybe hug your knees towards your chest, or just keep your feet down. But if you want to add a sway, add a sway. When you do feel good, we'll come up to seated, and we'll keep our knees bent, but bring our feet out wide. Or find our lovely chicken wing shoulder stretch. Maybe both of your elbows will come between your knees. Feel free to do one arm at a time. Maybe your hands will rest on your sides, palms facing out. tucking your elbows in. You can decide if your feet are wide enough. Leaning forwards a little, looking down, let your head get a little heavier. Feeling your upper back, your shoulders. And then you can decide if your feet want to maybe come a little closer together, sometimes a little easier to slide the feet if you've got socks on, but not always. You might end up in butterfly in a diamond shape. Just optional. If you are doing one arm at a time though, feel free to switch sides. If you're doing both, breathe. Notice what you feel through your arms and back. And then you might just let your knees fall open a little bit more so that you can take your elbow or elbows out. Maybe add a shoulder roll or be still. And then we'll start to move into tabletop. Maybe taking a sway of the hips. And then starting to bring our right foot forwards. Setting up our lunge. Maybe bringing our blocks in. So sinking into the hips. Rest on the top of your back foot. A nice lunge. Now you might want to stay in your lunge. You might want to move into lizard for a few breaths. If you like having your foot off to the side, heel toe it. I ideally want you to still be feeling that left hip flexor. So if you only feel your right leg in your lizard, maybe stick with the lunge. Maybe lower the chest down, but still trying to find that left hip flexor. If you did move into lizard, let's start to come back into our lunge. Heel toe, your foot in. And then send your hips back just for a half split. Not going to stay here long. Maybe point your toes up. And then bend back into the front knee. Bring your leg back into your tabletop. A sway through the hips. And then bringing your left foot forwards to set up your lunge. Finding the right hip flexor. Maybe you are staying here. Maybe you're heel toeing your foot off to the left for your lizard. Again, trying to continue stretching and lengthening through the right hip flexor. If you did come into lizard, you can slowly find your way back to your lunge, sending the hips back for a very short half split, which we can explore more later. And just bending back into the front knee, and you can push or slide your leg back and into your tabletop. Now, we are going to move into frog pose. If you want to do half frog, lay on your belly. Take one leg out to the side at a time. You can do that. If you want to join me in full frog, you might want to roll your mat over a couple times just to add some cushion for your knees. You might even want your pillow to be in front of you to go under your chest. But we're on our tummies. Our knees are coming out to the side, ideally in line with the hips, and then our feet are in line with our knees. Frog, half frog or full frog. Feeling your hips. I'll let you know when to switch sides if you are doing half frog. You could begin to switch sides if you are in half frog. If you're in full frog, you might be melting the chest lower. Sending the hips back towards the heels ideally deepens the stretch, so bring the feet out wide. We can slowly start to make our way out of this. If you're coming from full frog, there's no real correct way to come out. You might slide onto your belly. You might push your chest up into tabletop somehow. Bring your legs back together. Don't overthink it. Just move slowly. If you're in half frog, you might still be on your tummy, maybe giving the hips a little bit of a sway. If you end up in tabletop, give your hips a nice sway. Reaching your arms out in front. We're gonna find a puppy dog stretch if you want something under your forehead to be a pillow. But melting your chest down. Take just another breath. And then let an inhale lift you again. Come back into tabletop. Maybe swaying the hips. A little wiggle through the shoulders. And then we're gonna make our way back into our half splits. If you would rather do your hamstring stretch from a seated position, maybe with a strap, you could do that. You can join me in half splits. Maybe you're working towards full splits, but the option is yours. I want you to be stretching your hamstring, your calf. So maybe you're sitting down. Maybe you even want to lay down. If you're going to join me in half splits though, that is what I will talk you through. We can bring our right foot forwards first. Maybe sneak in a little lunge, a little hip flexor. And then starting to send the hips back. Lengthen through the leg. Drop the chest. Hold it here. Maybe you're sliding your foot forwards a little or a lot. You have a few moments though to go further with time or to just stay where you want to stay. And slowly start to come out of whatever hamstring stretch you chose. Give your hips a little sway or the knees. And when you're ready to switch sides, just do something similar. If you're following along with me, left foot forwards into a lunge. And then sending the hips back for a half split. And maybe just seeing how far you'll go. And slowly start to come back, to come out of your hamstring stretch. A sway of the hips or the knees. If you are on your back, you can stay there. If you're in tabletop, you might turn to sit. Give your knees a hug. You can start to lay down on our backs. Maybe the knees will come towards the chest. You can add a gentle sway side to side. Maybe your feet will start to lift. Maybe your low back will too. Plow pose. If you did lift your low back and your feet, slowly come down. A nice long spine. Maybe hugging the knees to the chest or planting your feet. But take a few sways side to side. If your feet are still lifted, you can bring them back down. And then finding your way into Shavasana. Maybe adding your pillow under your knees. Find a comfortable place and let it all go. Staying longer or slowly starting to move. I shall leave you here. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Until then, namaste.